I thought it would be interesting to do a little compare and contrast between the Sunday comic strip of a local paper. Now, this is a current issue of it, and how it appeared in previous years, going back to 1989, which is the oldest one I have. So this is the current, the most recent, November 3rd, 2024, Sunday comic strip installment from the Detroit Free Press. And it's kind of in rough shape. I actually got this out of a recycle bin when I went to the local library. Somebody had thrown away a bunch of the Sunday newspapers. There were a ton of these, and I just grabbed one of the Sunday ones. It's kind of a little too big to show everything in here all at once, but now the funny thing is some of the strips are really big, and then some are super tiny. There's all this empty white space here too. I don't know why they do that, but like this Pearls Before Swine, I had a hard time even reading it. I'll probably be able to read it on the screen better. But you can actually go online and go to websites. There's like Comics Kingdom, Go Comics. So it might be easier just to read these on the web. But like I said, I don't know why some are bigger than others. You know, like this one here. I don't have my magnifying glass around, so I misplaced it. So some of these I had a hard time reading. Like I said, you might be able to see it better on the screen. But the art on this one, Wallace the Brave, is so detailed. It seemed a shame that this one was in such a microscopic size, whereas this one has much more simpler thing, and it's it's a lot bigger. Move this back down. So, anyways, we'll take a look at the inside here as soon as I get the phone adjusted. And see, these are some of the strips, like the Lockhorns has been around forever in the Detroit Free Press. There's Nancy, drawn in its new, unusual style. Arlo and Janice. You got some of these panels, like that first panel, they're so small. Now, I didn't actually read most of these. Like I said, sometimes I was just kind of discouraged from reading them, like this Barney and Clyde one. To zoom in, it's like so small. It's kind of jarring to have to like this Luann one has nice big panels, and then if you want to read the next strip, Sally Forth, it's like really small. Anyways, here's some more. But yeah, I don't have a complaint really with the quality of the strips, the ones I could even read. But it is kind of unimpressive in a way. There's Prince Valiant, by the way, drawn by Tom Yeats. Or Yates, that's how his name's pronounced. I really like his art. But, it's a lot of the artwork of these current strips have sort of a retro look to them, that they could be like 100 years old, or something. There's a Canterville. That's a nicely drawn strip. So anyways, that's it. That's the current November 3rd, 2024 Detroit Free Press Sunday strip. Now, my understanding is that these days, with a lot of these newspapers, they're all run by these companies, and nowadays they just these companies put the same strips into every newspaper that they own across the country. So the Detroit Free Press themselves isn't like, their editor isn't picking out strips and formatting them in a certain way. It's just this is the template you print. This is what you're doing, regardless of what city you're in, what newspaper you're in, and so forth. That's my understanding anyway. It would explain why some of these, like I said, there's so much white space. The formatting is so weird. Some things are big, some things are small. Or could it just be that my aged eyes are having trouble reading some of these strips these days? I don't know. Now, I actually have one from last year of the also Detroit Free Press. You can see it looks very similar. This is from March 19th, 2023. And again, some of the same strips, you know, formatted pretty much the same way, although it does look like there's less white space around the edges here. Consequently, Pearls Before Swine, you can see there it's printed at a larger size in last year, 2023, than it is now. So the formatting is really weird on that. But again, a very similar thing. A lot of the same strips, but the way it's, like I said, the page things are done a little bit better. But again, you still have things where like Luann is really big, but Sally Forth is a lot smaller. At least it feels that way. There, you know, it's, I don't know. It's easier to read Luann, but of course it only has 3 panels as opposed to 6 panels. And there's Prince Valiant. Prince Valiant strip, really nicely drawn. So it's very similar, but like I said, the main difference seems to be some of the page margins there, the white margins. All right, so now let's go even further back into the past, into 2007. See, a very similar format. I happen to have this Detroit Free Press Sunday newspaper strip from, or section from October 14th, 2007. Now back then Dilbert was in this spot. Here, let's move these ones out of the way. Oh, there's actually, oh wait, that one's out. That one's the current one. So again, even though this was almost 20 years ago, it has a very similar style where you have the, well, there's For Better For Worse. You have the the main strips on this along there, then you have this one running, Dilbert in this case, running along the side. There's Blondie. Well, yes, a lot of, even though, like, there's Prince Valiant right there. Again, it's too bad that they have some of these in such small size. But maybe that is a constant with these newspapers, and my eyes are just getting old or something. Now you can see in this one they actually had an extra page, and they also had more dramatic strips. There's Amazing Spider-Man, which was written by Stan Lee according to the signature, but I think at this time it was actually ghostwritten by Roy Thomas. You also had another dramatic strip, Judge Parker, drawn by Ed Barreto. There's Garfield. There's Luann again. And so forth. Well, you also had Opus by Burke Breathed, which was the follow-up to both Outland and before that Bloom County. Those were the days. All right, so that's 2007. Now we're going to go even further back into the past. My oldest Detroit Free Press strips from, well, it starts at December 3rd, 1989. I got a bunch of them here. We'll probably just take a look at a couple of them. I think they're probably pretty much all going to be very similar. This is December 10th, 1989, December 17th, 1989, December 24th, 31st, 1989, January 7th, 1990, January 14th, 1990, January 21st, January 28th, February 4th, February 11th, February 18th, February 25th. Well, that's it. I actually have a lot more. I've showed in a previous video that I did years and years ago on my channel, probably 10 years ago, where I showed the comic strips. But back then the picture quality was really bad, the video quality, so you can't see too much. But anyway, so there's the Calvin and Hobbes. You can see is right there. Well, some of the page margins on here are a little weird too, but I don't know. Some of it just seems like it's more readable. You know, like I wouldn't have as much trouble where I'd be like, oh, I have to get my reading glasses out. There's Prince Valiant, and back at this time, Prince Valiant was done at a much larger size. And not like, you know, unreasonably large or anything like that. It was just you could see it better. So there's Dick Tracy right here, which was being written by Max Allan Collins. And another dramatic strip, Judge Parker, is right there. And Sally Forth. Let's see what's in the next bit here. There's Luann. Now at this time, Luann had a much more than just like 3 panels. It was, you know, nice, also nicely drawn. Anyway, we'll take a look at another one here. Now, at this time, Amazing Spider-Man wasn't part of the Free Press. It was part of the Detroit News. And also, Burke Ruthed's Bloom County and Outland strip were part of the Detroit News, not Free Press. So each paper had its own like advantages. Like Calvin and Hobbes was part of the Free Press, not the News. Here's Doonesbury. My family had always got the Detroit News in the 1980s, but then in 1989, the reason I have these Free Press ones is the Detroit News and Detroit Free Press did a combined weekend edition. So it was the best of both worlds. You got both Sunday strips, or both Sunday sections. So you got the Detroit News Sunday section, the comic strip, as well as the Free Press comic strip, which was awesome for me, and because I was collecting both of them. My oldest Detroit News comic strips go back to 1984. That's why I started collecting them when I was 13 years old. But I stopped around 1995. There's another Prince Valiant. And then one bad thing about these newspaper things is they weren't, for one thing, they weren't meant to be saved like this. You know, this is like 35 years old or something like that, you know, this comic strip section. So they weren't really meant to be saved, but they are kind of a little unwieldy to hold. And let's see here. Here we're going to fold it like so. You can see it better. There's Judge Parker. You know, again, there is some weird spacing issues. You know, it's like you have all this white space here. Here's Dick Tracy. And we'll unfold that. And Marmaduke. Well, there it is. And Hagar the Horrible. And there's a Luann. Now you can see Luann is like at a smaller size again. So a lot of this seems really inconsistent. It makes you wonder why they made the decisions they did when they were putting these pages together. But at this time, I believe it was the actual Detroit Free Press person, the you know, their editor, their comics editor, whoever it was, actually laying these pages out rather than having somebody in a different city doing it. Anyways, that's it. So, so we've seen 1989. So that's what it was like back in 1989. To me, it was a little more appealing, a little more readable. But even back in 2007, you know, they had that extra page, and it was probably a little more readable, you know, than it soon got to be. Like I said, this is the current one, and we go back and look at the current one after we've looked at those older ones, and again, those white margins on the thing become much more obvious. You think, well, gee, they wouldn't have had it like that back then, and just having the strips so small. Again, that just seems unreasonably small, you know, compared to, like I said, well, even like 2007. So here's Get Fuzzy. Here's an actual comparison. This is 2007. So Get Fuzzy is right there. And then there's this one actually does feel is larger. So this is the old one, 2007 over here. This is the current one. So it does seem inconsistent. Sometimes they're larger, sometimes they're smaller. The current one is actually bigger than this 2007 one. Huh. Anyways. But one thing was clear to me when trying to read some of these. It was like, even with my reading glasses, I was like, yeah, I got to get a magnifying glass. And the other thing is I can see why people would just read some of these online. So anyway, that's it for me. It's been a while since I looked at one of the current comic strip sections, so I thought I'd take a look at it and do a little video about it. That's it for me. Thanks for watching.